Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Chef Robert Irvine. He's my special guest today. He's a restaurant impossible host. He's an entrepreneur. He's a chef and an author. He's widely recognized as the host of Food Network's Restaurant Impossible. He's the driving force behind the Robert Irvine Foundation, which he founded in 2014 to support the well-being of our nation's service members, veterans, first responders, and their families. Welcome back, Robert. First, let's talk about the book. How's it doing, and what can the reader expect to learn from this book? You put all your tricks and your tips in here for us.
Well, the reason I wrote the book, Jeremiah, is simply because I could only do one restaurant a week, right? It's just physically impossible to do more than one a week because of the intensity of it. It's real time, 48 hours. So the team gets there a day before. I get there literally the next day. So mine is really 48 hours of see it, design it, build it, teach it, leave it. So I wrote the book because I see the biggest failures in most businesses. That's not just mom and pop businesses. And by the way, mom and pop businesses built the United States of America, right? So let's not forget that. So in every human being, including myself, there's an entrepreneur that wants to get out. So I wrote the book, and there's 4 real lessons in there. The first one is empathetic leadership. What does that actually mean? And it's the same in a corporation, whether you're Walmart, whether you're American Airlines or whatever. It's the same thing. Empathetic leadership means that you know that one of your employees has an autistic son or daughter, and they're having a bad day, or your mother fell down the stairs, or your son, God forbid, had heart failure, or something in your organization has affected somebody that works for you. And as the leader, you better know that, because I can't expect you to come into work, do your job, and then I notice you're not doing your job, and then I chastise you not knowing the circumstances behind that. So I teach my middle management, my lower management, my senior management, empathy. Understand who works with you, not for you, because they work with you. Without them, you're not getting your job done. So that's the first one about the book. Then comes trust. Do you trust each other? That's a big word I use and throw that around, because without trust, you have nothing. Egos is another one, theirs and yours, because you know what happens with egos? It sinks ships, it sinks everything. And then the last one of those pillars, or the 4 pillars I call, is authenticity. Don't be up and down as a boss all day. Be one way, and people expect the way you're going to be. But be that way all the time. Don't go up and down and not let people know where you are. And it's okay to be vulnerable too. I think modern leaders are changing their approach based on those pillars I give you, but showing that they're also human. They make mistakes, just like everybody else do. So I think that's why I wrote the book. There's a lot of great information in there about how to lead, why to lead, when to listen. About I call them L's and W's, wins and losses. About my wins, about my losses, because I think that's important that people understand that not everything's a home run, right? My first company and all the things that I've done. And it's okay to make mistakes. And the book tells you it's okay to make mistakes. What it's not okay to do is make the same mistake twice, right? I'm very clear on that. Learn by the mistakes that you have so you don't make them again somewhere down the road. And I teach that to Fortune 500 companies right now in my other world of how do you create cultures that are exceptional? And the only way you do that is by those pillars I just mentioned to you, and understanding that it's okay to have a big company. And there's a lot of people out there that are into just recently, by the way, into employee ownership, right, of companies, which I love, by the way. You know what? Hey, the way in which you help people succeed, both on the financial level, but also on the work level, is give them a piece of it. They're working for it. And
Yeah.
there's some great people out there doing that. And it's amazing the difference in productivity when you own a percentage of something that you know at the end will sell and you can make some money on it. So that's what the book was about, because I couldn't touch everybody. And I had a lot of fun doing it. There's a lot of great quotes in there. One at the beginning, if you've read it, when you look up at the stars, that's a great quote of mine. And think, someday, I'm someday. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that guy that stepped from the lowest ladder to the top ladder, then back down again, then back up again. So
You came, the world that you came up through as a chef in the kitchens, and during those times that your formative years, kitchens were rough. And
oh,
I think I do, because it's a comment on what you said, that leaders are changing. And I've been at the point, I've been in kitchens that pans are being thrown at your
yeah,
head and plates,
knives.
but I don't see that anymore. And maybe it still goes on, I'm sure, but it's a whole different world, I think, where chefs and people that work in the top positions in these hospitality companies or these restaurants, they're kind of seeing the change too, and the learning new ways, which I love to see and encourage as well.
Yeah, look, the old days of the mafia kitchens where you throw hot tea at people and knives and pans and berate people. You can't do that anymore. Sorry.
No,
There's a whole bunch of
you
new
shouldn't have
laws,
done it then.
right? You know, but I will tell you this: as much as I hated it, those pieces of it, it also taught me to be a better human being, not to
Hmm.
do those things, right?
What you don't want to become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those old fudgety kind of crusty people that taught me, that have now passed on, and most of them have anyway. Um, I laugh now because I'm like, well, yeah, I was there, I've done that. Here's the real deal. This is what really happens.
Well,
Um,
your
it's
life, your
crazy.
book, your lessons in this book are authentic and genuine, just as you are right now. I mean, I'm getting that this is you, who you are. That's all. This is what you are, and you talk it, you talk the talk and walk the walk, and that whole thing.
Listen, I'll tell you this. I have three chefs that work for me, my corporate guys. They're way better chefs than I will ever be in my entire life. Like, I don't profess to be the greatest chef on the planet. I don't have Michelin stars, and nor do I want them, by the way. But you put me in a
Who wants that
desert
pressure?
feeding 30,000 troops with a bucket of water and a knife. I got you. I can produce a meal, and not many people can say that. And be able to do that, by the way. It's easy to say, oh, yeah, I can cook. All right, you got nothing. You're in 30,000 people. You're in Afghanistan, and you got to figure it out, and you got 2 hours. Get it done. I can do that. Can I cook for a president? Yeah, I've done it 1,000 times. Um, am I the best at it? No. I've got Daryl Moore as one of my corporate chef, 4 seasons, 20 years. Shane Cash, been with me 29 years. A Marine, way better than me, organize things in a nanosecond. But I have something to be able to pick those guys out and say, oh, these are the guys. They can drop anything and create something anywhere in the world.
Yeah, and I'm such a fan of the brigade system and some of the influence of the military within a restaurant. I mean, the structure, I think, fits so
Yeah.
well within a restaurant and almost any business, I would argue. I want to talk about the Robert Irvine Foundation before I run out of time with you, because you are probably off to fix another restaurant or serve another meal or something heroic and very cool. So let me set this up if you don't mind, Robert. In 2014, you started Robert Irvine Foundation to support the well-being of our nation's service members, veterans, first responders, and their families. You were a former veteran, and your commitment to these heroes goes beyond the kitchen by finding your passion and calling in life, you've dedicated your life's work to providing these essential support service, including iBots. I had to look that up, and I think that's so cool. I really want to promote that. Actually, what they do is amazing. The mobility devices, service dogs, as well as fostering community and resilience through programs like Breaking Bread with Heroes. Breaking Bread with Heroes honors our nation's heroes by serving meals that foster the community and the connection. And Breaking Bread with Heroes has served 53,000 plus heroes and their families since 2022 alone. Reuniting the Brave, which was established in 2023, has united over 2,500 veterans, Gold Star families, and military families, fostering that healing, honoring their sacrifices. These initiatives have served tens of thousands of heroes and their families, offering them meals and a sense of belonging and connection. Your philanthropic efforts extend to organizing annual events like the annual Military Heroes Charity Golf Tournament and Beats and Eats, which raises funds and awareness for the foundation's cause. Robert, usually a thank you for your service is reserved for veterans who have returned from protecting our country and serving. But today, I want to thank you for all that you do. It's just inspiring, and it's almost you sit back and you go, "What? How do I get? What can I do? That's where do I start? Where do I? Each one of us. I'm inspired by you, and I know that somebody said about you that you seek to inspire people to live better through all of the endeavors of yours. What is the goal for you, for all
I
your
think
companies, for all your, what's the ultimate goal? Because they complement each other, each one of these
I
initiatives.
think I think I think first and foremost, um, when we started this conversation, I said, what is it? What are people going to say about me when I'm gone? What have I done? Have I made it a better place? Well, I just came back off a huge tour, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, with our troops, Afghanistan, Iraq, Poland, Spain, Germany, England, uh, Diego Garcia. You name a location. The foundation put there. I'd worked with other foundations many years, and given money and grants and whatnot. But I really wanted to start to talk about programs. And you mentioned Breaking Bread. Again, I talk about food. So twice a week, somewhere around the world, anywhere from 300 to 3,000, we feed people, right? What does that do? It allows our veterans, families, Gold Star families, active duty men and women to sit down and have a meal, share a meal together, and talk. It's something that the military forgets to do occasionally, right? What does that help me do? It helps me get people out of rooms that have PTS. It helps me have them talk. It's like check on your buddy check kind of thing. It helps me stop them doing silly things. So the feeding, Breaking Bread for Heroes, is something really special because it goes into reuniting the brave. We've just had, while I was in Normandy with 168 World War II veterans, the President of the United States, King Charles, Prince William, 20 heads of state, doing dinners and whatever, I had 600 rescue swimmers in Alabama meeting together. I had 750 1st Battalion, 5th Marines in San Diego for a week together with their Gold Star families that haven't been together for 20 years, right? Since the war. So what do these programs do? They literally allow the veteran to become reconnected. I do a big, we call it the Yomp. It's a 54-mile march across Scotland. Look it up or go on our website. You'll see the video. I take, this year we're taking 100. So we take 100 Americans, which meet 1,000 coalition forces. We march 56 miles or 20, 22, 38, or 54 miles, sorry. And every 2 miles, somebody talks, somebody listens, they move on, the next group tope up. And what does that do? All of our coalition partners are Ukrainians, the Latvians, all the people who are injured that don't have the support that we have in this country or in England, get a chance to vent, and we see if we can help them in some way, shape, or form. They're just two programs. The IBOT program, which you quite rightly said. Yesterday, I was in New Hampshire with his designer, Dean Kamen, who is a dear friend of mine. He created a Segway, over 7,000 patents. The guy is a genius, but a true believer in making sure life is easy for somebody that needs it. This year, by the end of this year, we were giving 25 of those iBots out at $50,000 a piece. The dogs are $50,000. The bowhead bikes, we have 1,500 double amputees on the war on terror. Each bike, 25-mile-an-hour bowhead bike, goes 45-degree angle either way. We've got 300 guys that meet in Colorado every year to do like BMX their style with a 20-mile-an-hour motor. My goal is to get 1,500 and get them people out of those rooms and not feeling something that could end their life, right?
Yeah.
If you go to Amazon Prime and look up Hello High Seas, it's a documentary that I did with a rescue swimmer who put a Glock to his head. His name's Taylor Grieger. It didn't go off. He sailed around the Cape Horn. We documented it. He now runs 2 sailboats that run around the world races with different legs with veterans to keep them out of doing silly things. So I mean, they're just some of the programs. There's we've got all these other programs, and if you want to check it out, robertirvinefoundation.org. There's lots of videos. Make sure you have tissues because you'll cry, because I cry every time I look at them. Again, in the vein of doing something different. We get OAR and great chefs, and we do a dinner, and same with Red Wine and Blues in DC. We do the golf tournament. We've got Erie, Pennsylvania in 2 weeks, where we're taking the whole county of Erie, Pennsylvania, and doing a barbecue, a concert with Michael Franti, a big barbecue for them, a concert, a golf tournament, all benefiting the foundation, but also the men and women, the veterans that are doing great things there. So I don't know. Look, Jeremiah, here's what I know. You get up in the morning, you go out and do something good, and you're welcome to any of my events. Just let me know. Just go on the foundation and see what you like. Come to Erie, Pennsylvania. You'll have a blast. It's about, again, it's not, look, I'm 59 years old. I live a very humble life. I wear the same t-shirt, the same jeans. I don't run about in big fancy cars. I have a big fancy house. My money goes towards where it's supposed to go, which is taking care of those people. And that's what the foundation is. That's what the books are. That's what the companies do. And believe me, if you'd have said to me 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, oh, you're going to be giving away a lot of money and all your money, and you're going to do this, I would have laughed at you. And I'm like, now, take whatever I got. I don't care, because I am the happiest guy on the planet.
Chef
Don't smoke.
Robert
I drink
Irvine.
tequila. I drink beer. That's it.
The happiest guy on the planet. I want a little bit of that. Where do you get that? I'm going to point out a couple milestones from the Robert Irvine Foundation. To date, you served over 54,000 heroes and their families at the Breaking Bread with Heroes events that we've talked about. You've impacted over 36,000 heroes through the Resiliency Experiences program, visited over 40,000 service members and their families on military bases, visited 30 military bases and installations across the globe. Check out iBot, the personal mobility device that we mentioned. And we're going to come back and just say goodbye. You've been so generous as you are in life, it sounds like. Now I know a little bit more about you. You've been so generous with your time with us, Chef Robert. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about your birthday coming up. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Jeremiah Show. Special guest, Chef Robert Irvine.